So over the last 3 years, I produced many guides on Gran Turismo 7, pretty much covering the entirety of the ins and outs of this game. And well, a lot of those original guides are either completely outdated or they were just rushed to release and weren't very good quality. And well, today's revamp guide is no different. It's all about selling cars, and unfortunately that original guide, well, it was just... Now, of course, since the feature was completely fresh for GT7 at that time and it was a lot more in-depth than we could have possibly expected, a lot of the information in that video doesn't necessarily hold up. Of course, a lot of time has passed since then, over 2 years, so now we know the ins and outs of the system and the best way to get the best possible price for the cars you want to sell. Again, for GT7 veterans, you'll probably know exactly how this system works, how to unlock it and how to get the most out of it. But again, this guide is more for the new/beginner players that might not have been around GT7 for the length of time that some of us have. So first of all, let's talk requirements for selling cars in GT7. You'll need to head over to the cafe menu, and what you need to do here is head into the menu book section. Now, you essentially need to beat the base game of Gran Turismo 7. So you will need to complete menu book number 1 to menu book number 39. Once all 39 of the base menu books are completed, you will have the ability unlocked to go ahead and evaluate your car and sell them. So again, just a reminder that menu book 40 onwards are not required to be completed to be able to unlock the car valuation service. So once you've completed the base menu books from number 1 to number 39, you'll need to head into the used car section, and this is where you'll actually find the car valuation service. Now, of course, if you haven't got this unlocked, you will not have this feature available to you. The only thing you'll be able to do is actually go ahead and purchase used cars which rotate on a daily basis. After you've completed the 39th menu book, you'll have the car valuation service unlocked. Now when you head into this section, it's just going to be an entire list of every single vehicle you own. Each of the cars on the list will be assigned a body valuation and a variation from the day prior. Now, by default, the list is going to be set to by variation in descending order. However, you can sort it in many different ways. The next way is by variation in ascending order. So essentially flipping the list with the worst variation at the top and then downwards from there. So it gets better at the bottom. Then we have by valuation in descending order. So your most expensive body valuation will sit at the top of this list. As you can see, for me, it's the Ferrari 330, and of course it will then go down with some of the game's most expensive cars. Then we have by valuation in ascending order, so the cheapest body valuation will be at the top, and it's basically flipped the list once again. So those two sorting options don't take the variation into account, it's just the overall body valuation of the car. Next up we have manufacturer ascending order, which of course is basically alphabetical, so it'll be a Bath, Alpine, Alfa Romeo, etc. And of course we can then do it in descending order, which will then completely flip the list once again, so that the last alphabetical manufacturer will show first, and then of course Alpine, etc. will be at the bottom of this list. So as you can see here, it's Skoda, Zagato, Wicked Fabrication, Volvo, Volkswagen, etc. So there we go, that is the sorting feature entirely explained. So next up, let's talk about the variation from yesterday feature. Now, if it's really high in the green, this could possibly be a sign that the car has hit its maximum value. So we're going to use the Garage RCR Civic here, for example, which has the best variation from yesterday in the game today. So let's go ahead and appraise the car. Now you're going to be greeted with a lot of information here. It's going to give you 2 weeks of information on the car's value. So it was 94k 2 weeks ago, the minimum it hit was a week ago at 74k, and a week later it's hit the maximum value of 118,000 credits. Now heading to the right hand side, we can see some extra information. The first is tuning valuation, so I have 25,020 credits worth of tuning modifications on this vehicle. We then have the body valuation, which is here. As we can see, that's 118,900, and the variation just at the bottom there, which is 9.7%. And then we get the total valuation of the car today if I were to sell it, which is 143,920 credits. Now again, you're really going to be looking for trends in the body valuation. As we can see, the max value is what we're seeing today, and the minimum value for the car was 74,000 credits. So that is a pretty big jump. And as we can see, the graph will typically go down to its minimum value and then start growing upwards to its maximum before once again dipping back down again. Which of course at that point is when you'll start seeing cars go down into the red section. So as you can see here, the Alfa Romeo 4C is 10.4% valuation change since yesterday and is very high into the red. So I have two of these. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at the graph, and as we can see, we have the max value once again and the minimum value. Now it's not quite at the minimum value just yet, but it has taken a big leap from its maximum peak value of 51k and is now on the way downwards. Its valuation today is 43,630 credits, so it's almost there at its minimum possible value. So tomorrow its variation might not be as drastic, but it will still continue that downward trend. And again, because we do have tuning parts added on here, we are going to get an overall better price than just the body valuation, so 74k for this one. Next up, I want to talk about the kind of supply and demand feature. So I'm going to use this TVR Tuscan Speed 6 for example. This car is completely standard, and as you can see, its trend has been on a downward way for a few days now after hitting its maximum value. Now the main reason for this seems to be is that the car is available in the used car dealership. It's not quite at its absolute minimum value, but it's extremely close. So if we just quickly head into the used car dealership, we can see the TVR Tuscan Speed 6 is on limited stock but is available to buy. That means after today, the car will then be classed as sold out, and since the valuation is so low, we'll probably start seeing it the day after increase once again in value. The same is more than likely true for the BMW M3 and the Impreza 22B here. Both have just sold out today, which means they will disappear from the list tomorrow and the valuation will probably start to increase. So heading back to the car valuation service, we take a look at the BMW, and as we can see, once it's been widely available, the price has been driven down. It's almost minimum value, and then more than likely from tomorrow onwards, it will start to increase once again, upwards of a maximum of around about 55k. And the same is true for the 22B, which as we can see, it was available, it dipped down, and it's more than likely going to go back up once again. So next up, I want to talk about the best possible time to actually go ahead and sell your cars. Now I'm going to go to some of the most expensive cars in game because you can get a healthy extra amount of credits if you sell these things at the best possible time. So I'm looking for a car that I've got a duplicate of, which as you can see, the D-Type I've got 2 of, and again if I had 3 it would say 3, 4, etc. So the D-Type, it's going up in its variation from yesterday, so it's in the green, and its current body valuation is 3,187,420 credits. So as we can see, this car is now in an upward trend. It recently hit its minimum value at just over 3 million credits. However, if we look at the maximum value, it was almost 3.4 million credits. So that is a huge extra chunk of change I can get if I just wait for the trend to go upwards and sell at the car's maximum value. So for me, this would be a car that I'd wait on to sell at the right time. Now the good thing about some of these more expensive cars, especially when it comes to duplicates of them, a lot of the time you'll get them for totally free for doing weekly rewards or some of the extra menus. So again, it's fully worthwhile waiting for that extra bump in credits you can get for watching the trend go upwards and selling at the car's maximum value. So I fully recommend just be patient. And of course, in the end, we actually have to go and talk about appraising a car and selling it. So as you can see, I've got a few duplicates here of the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, which I need to go ahead and click the appraise button on. Now, just be warned, you can only sell one single version of a single model of car each and every day. Now for me, this car's at its maximum value, so this is the best possible time for me to go ahead and sell. And all I need to do is hit the sell car button, and it'll ask me if I'm sure, yes, and then it'll go ahead and add the credits in. And there we go, that is a full up-to-date detailed guide on the car valuation service inside of Gran Turismo 7 and how to sell your cars and get the most out of them. If this video helped you out, don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care guys, peace.